Imagine this. You wake up one morning and the world feels different. The air is heavier, the light sharper, as if a veil has been lifted. You reach for your phone, as you always do, but something stops you. A voice in your head whispers, "What are you running from?" You pause, your thumb hovering over the screen. For the first time in years, you don't unlock it. Instead, you sit there, staring at the blank wall in front of you, and a question rises from the depths of your mind. What have I been avoiding? This is not just a moment of curiosity. It's a crack in the foundation of your reality, because deep down, you know the truth. You've been numbing yourself, scrolling, binge-watching, gaming, consuming, anything to keep the silence at bay, anything to avoid the void. But now, the void is staring back at you, and it's asking a question you can't ignore. What would happen if you stopped? Here's the unsettling paradox. We live in an age of unprecedented access to entertainment, yet we've never been more disconnected from ourselves. We have more ways to escape than ever before, yet we feel more trapped. We consume endless content, yet we're starving for meaning. How is it possible that the very things designed to entertain us are making us weaker? How is it that the more we consume, the less alive we feel? Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence for more than 5 minutes? When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel boredom, to let your mind wander without the crutch of a screen? For most of us, the answer is unsettling. We've become so addicted to distraction that we've forgotten how to be present. We've traded depth for dopamine, and in the process, we've lost something essential: our ability to confront the raw, unfiltered reality of our existence. But why? Why do we crave distraction so desperately? Why do we willingly hand over our attention to algorithms designed to exploit our vulnerabilities? Is it because we're weak, or is it because we've been conditioned to fear what lies beneath the surface? Consider this. What if entertainment isn't just a harmless pastime? What if it's a tool, a seductive, insidious tool that keeps us docile, complacent, and disconnected from our true potential? What if every hour spent scrolling, every episode binged, every game played, is not just a way to pass the time, but a way to avoid the hard, uncomfortable work of becoming who we're meant to be? This is not just about wasting time. This is about something far more profound. This is about the erosion of our inner lives. This is about the slow, silent death of curiosity, creativity, and courage. This is about how we've been trained to seek comfort at the expense of growth, to choose ease over effort, to prioritize pleasure over purpose. And here's the most haunting question of all. What if you're not even aware of how much this is costing you? What if, right now, as you read these words, you're still clinging to the illusion that entertainment is just a harmless escape? What if the real danger isn't the content itself, but what it's doing to your mind, your soul, your ability to face the world with clarity and strength? This is the great question we must confront. How is entertainment keeping you weak? Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How is it shaping your thoughts, your desires, your identity? How is it keeping you from confronting the truths that could set you free? The answers are not simple. They require us to dive into the depths of psychology, philosophy, and the hidden forces that shape our behavior. They require us to question everything we've been taught about pleasure, productivity, and the purpose of life. But one thing is certain. If we don't confront these questions, we risk living lives of quiet desperation. Lives spent chasing distractions instead of pursuing meaning. So let's begin. Let's peel back the layers of this modern paradox and uncover the hidden forces at play. Let's explore why we've become so addicted to entertainment and what it's doing to our minds, our relationships, and our sense of self. Because the truth is waiting, and it's far more unsettling and liberating than you might expect. But first, we must ask, what are you really running from? And more importantly, what would happen if you stopped? To understand why entertainment has such a powerful grip on us, we must first confront a hard truth. It's not just about fun, it's about escape. Escape from what? From the discomfort of being alone with our thoughts, from the weight of our responsibilities, from the existential dread that lurks beneath the surface of our daily lives. This is not a new phenomenon. Long before smartphones and streaming services, humans have sought ways to distract themselves from the harsh realities of existence. The ancient Greeks had their theater, the Romans their gladiatorial games, and the Victorians their novels. But what's different now is the scale, the accessibility, and the precision with which modern entertainment targets our vulnerabilities. Let's start with psychology. Carl Jung, the pioneering Swiss psychiatrist, spoke of the shadow, the part of ourselves we repress, deny, or ignore because it's too painful to confront. He believed that until we integrate our shadow, it will control us from the unconscious, manifesting in destructive behaviors and addictions. Could it be that our obsession with entertainment is a way to avoid facing our shadow? That every time we reach for our phones or turn on the TV, we're running from the parts of ourselves we don't want to see? Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher of existential courage, warned of the dangers of comfort. He believed that suffering was essential for growth, that without struggle, we become weak and complacent. "What does not kill me makes me stronger," he famously wrote. But modern entertainment offers the opposite, a world where struggle is optional, where discomfort is minimized, and where we can live vicariously through the triumphs and tragedies of fictional characters. Is it any wonder, then, that we've become so averse to facing our own challenges? Arthur Schopenhauer, the pessimistic philosopher, saw life as a constant oscillation between pain and boredom. He argued that humans are driven by an insatiable will, a desire for more, for better, for different. But because this will can never be fully satisfied, we're doomed to either suffer from unmet desires or languish in the emptiness of their fulfillment. Entertainment, in this sense, is a perfect solution. It offers the illusion of fulfillment without the risk of disappointment. But at what cost? Aldous Huxley, in his dystopian novel Brave New World, envisioned a society where people were kept docile and content through endless distractions. Unlike George Orwell's 1984, where control was maintained through fear and oppression, Huxley's world used pleasure as a tool of subjugation. There will be, in the next generation or so, a pharmacological method of making people love their servitude, he wrote. While we may not be living in Huxley's exact vision, the parallels are unsettling. Are we not, in some ways, already enslaved by our own desire for comfort and distraction? Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist philosopher, argued that humans are condemned to be free. This freedom, he believed, is both our greatest gift and our heaviest burden. It forces us to confront the absurdity of existence, to create our own meaning in a universe that offers none. But freedom is terrifying. It requires us to take responsibility for our choices, to face the uncertainty of the unknown, and to accept the inevitability of suffering. Is it any wonder, then, that so many of us choose to numb ourselves with entertainment, that we willingly surrender our freedom for the illusion of security? Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that the primary drive of human beings is not pleasure, but meaning. He believed that even in the most horrific circumstances, people could find purpose and endure suffering if they had a reason to live. But in our modern world, where meaning is often elusive, entertainment offers a tempting alternative, a way to fill the void, to distract ourselves from the question of why we're here. So, what does all this tell us? It tells us that our addiction to entertainment is not just a personal failing. It's a symptom of a deeper, more pervasive problem, our inability to confront the fundamental truths of human existence. It's a way to avoid the discomfort of freedom, the pain of growth, and the responsibility of creating our own meaning. But here's the twist. The very thing we're using to escape is also what's keeping us trapped. Every hour spent scrolling, every episode binged, every game played is not just a moment of distraction. It's a moment of surrender, a moment where we willingly hand over our attention, our creativity, and our agency to forces that do not have our best interests at heart. And the consequences are profound. Over time, this constant distraction erodes our ability to think deeply, to feel fully, and to act intentionally. It fragments our attention, weakens our willpower, and dulls our capacity for introspection. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of consumption, where the more we consume, the emptier we feel. But why does this happen? Why does entertainment have such a powerful hold on us? The answer lies in the way it exploits our psychological vulnerabilities. It taps into our fear of boredom, our need for novelty, and our desire for instant gratification. It hijacks our reward system, flooding our brains with dopamine and creating a feedback loop that's hard to break. And it's not just our individual psychology that's at play, it's also the broader cultural and societal forces that shape our behavior. We live in a world that values productivity over presence, consumption over creation, and distraction over depth. We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we're not enough, that we need to buy more, do more, be more. And entertainment offers a temporary reprieve from this relentless pressure. But here's the paradox. The more we rely on entertainment to escape, the more we reinforce the very conditions we're trying to avoid. We become passive consumers instead of active creators. We lose touch with our inner lives and our connection to others, and we drift further and further away from the things that truly matter. So, what's the solution? How do we break free from this cycle? The answer lies not in rejecting entertainment altogether, but in understanding its role in our lives and reclaiming our agency. It lies in confronting the discomfort we've been avoiding and rediscovering the depth and richness of our inner worlds. But before we can do that, we must first understand the unseen consequences of our addiction to entertainment. We must see how it's shaping not just our individual lives, but the very fabric of our society. Imagine a world where everyone is constantly plugged in, their eyes glued to screens, their minds lost in a sea of endless content. A world where conversations are interrupted by notifications, where moments of silence are filled with the hum of background noise, and where the line between reality and virtuality becomes increasingly blurred. This is not a dystopian future, it's our present reality, and the consequences are far more insidious than we realize. Let's start with the most obvious: the erosion of attention. Neuroscientists have found that the constant barrage of information and stimuli from entertainment fragments our focus, making it harder to concentrate on a single task for an extended period. This phenomenon, often referred to as continuous partial attention, means we're always half present, never fully engaged in what we're doing. The result? A life lived in snippets, where depth and meaning are sacrificed for the sake of immediacy. But it's not just our attention that's affected. It's our ability to think critically. When we're constantly consuming content, we're less likely to question its validity or consider alternative perspectives. We become passive recipients of information rather than active participants in the process of understanding. This is particularly dangerous in an age of misinformation, where the lines between fact and fiction are increasingly blurred. Then there's the impact on our emotional lives. Entertainment, by its very nature, is designed to evoke strong emotions: joy, fear, excitement, sadness. But when we're constantly exposed to these heightened emotional states, our own emotions can become dulled. We start to crave more intense stimuli to feel the same level of excitement, leading to a kind of emotional numbness. This is why, after binge-watching an entire season of a show, we often feel empty rather than fulfilled. But perhaps the most profound consequence is the way entertainment shapes our identity. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with images of idealized lives, perfect bodies, perfect relationships, perfect careers, it's easy to feel inadequate. We start to measure our worth against these impossible standards, leading to feelings of insecurity, anxiety, and self-doubt. And instead of addressing these feelings, we turn to entertainment for comfort, creating a vicious cycle of consumption and dissatisfaction. This cycle is further exacerbated by the algorithms that power modern entertainment. These algorithms are designed to keep us engaged for as long as possible, feeding us content that aligns with our preferences and biases. While this might seem harmless, it creates what's known as a filter bubble, a closed ecosystem where we're only exposed to ideas and perspectives that reinforce our existing beliefs. Over time, this narrows our worldview, making us less open to new experiences and less capable of empathy. And then there's the societal impact. When everyone is plugged into their own personalized entertainment bubble, the sense of community and shared experience erodes. We become isolated, disconnected from the people around us, and less likely to engage in meaningful social interactions. This is particularly troubling in a time when social cohesion is already under strain, but the consequences go even deeper. Entertainment in its current form is not just a reflection of our culture, it's a driver of it. It shapes our values, our aspirations, and our understanding of what it means to be human. And when the dominant narratives in entertainment prioritize consumption, competition, and instant gratification over connection, creativity, and long-term fulfillment, It's no wonder that we're seeing a rise in mental health issues, social fragmentation, and existential despair. Consider this. In a world where entertainment is always available, where every moment of boredom is filled with a new distraction, we lose the opportunity for introspection. We lose the space to reflect on our lives, to question our choices, and to imagine new possibilities. And without this space, we become stuck in a kind of existential limbo, alive but not truly living. This is the unseen cost of our addiction to entertainment. It's not just about wasted time or missed opportunities. It's about the slow, silent erosion of our humanity. It's about the loss of depth, meaning, and connection in a world that's increasingly shallow, fragmented, and disconnected. But here's the most unsettling part. We're complicit in this process. Every time we choose entertainment over engagement, distraction over depth, we're reinforcing the very forces that are keeping us weak. We're trading our agency for the illusion of comfort, our potential for the promise of pleasure. And yet, there's hope, because the first step to breaking free is awareness. Once we see the unseen consequences of our addiction to entertainment, we can start to make different choices. We can start to reclaim our attention, our emotions, and our identity. We can start to live more intentionally, more authentically, and more fully. But how? How do we break free from the grip of entertainment and reclaim our lives? The answer lies in a radical shift in perspective, one that challenges everything we've been taught about pleasure, productivity, and the purpose of life. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted wilderness. Behind you is the familiar comfort of your daily routine, the screens, the distractions, the endless cycle of consumption. Ahead lies the unknown, a life of depth, meaning, and authentic connection. The path is not easy. It requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to confront the discomfort you've been avoiding. But it's also the only path to true freedom. Breaking free from the grip of entertainment is not about rejecting it entirely. It's about reclaiming your agency, your ability to choose how you spend your time, your attention, and your energy. It's about shifting from passive consumption to active creation, from distraction to presence, from numbness to aliveness. The first step is to confront the void. This is the space you've been filling with entertainment, the silence, the boredom, the discomfort. It's the place where your deepest fears and desires reside, where the questions you've been avoiding live. To break free, you must learn to sit with this void, to embrace it rather than run from it. This is where the work begins. Start by creating intentional periods of silence in your day. Turn off the screens, put away the devices, and simply be. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will race, your body will fidget, and you'll be tempted to reach for your phone. But resist the urge. Sit with the discomfort. Observe it. Over time, you'll begin to notice something remarkable. The void is not empty. It's full of potential, of ideas, insights, and emotions you've been suppressing. Next, reclaim your attention. This is perhaps the most valuable resource you have, and yet it's constantly being hijacked by algorithms designed to keep you engaged. To reclaim it, you must set boundaries. Designate specific times for entertainment and stick to them. Use tools like app blockers or screen time limits to reduce temptation. And most importantly, practice mindfulness, the art of being fully present in the moment. This could be as simple as focusing on your breath, savoring a meal, or truly listening to a conversation. But breaking free is not just about reducing consumption. It's also about increasing creation. When you create, whether it's writing, painting, cooking, or building, you tap into a deeper part of yourself. You move from being a passive recipient of content to an active participant in the process of meaning-making. This is where true fulfillment lies. Consider the lives of those who have broken free from the cycle of distraction. Think of the artists, writers, and thinkers who have produced timeless works by embracing solitude and introspection. Think of the activists and leaders who have sparked change by turning their attention to the world's most pressing problems. These individuals didn't achieve greatness by consuming more. They did it by creating, by engaging, by being fully present in their lives. But creation is not the only path to freedom. Another powerful tool is connection. In a world where entertainment often isolates us, genuine connection with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us can be a radical act of rebellion. This means prioritizing quality time with loved ones, engaging in meaningful conversations, and fostering a sense of community. It means stepping out of your comfort zone and into the messy, beautiful reality of human relationships. And then there's the practice of self-reflection. This is where you confront the shadow, the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Journaling, meditation, and therapy can all be powerful tools for this work. The goal is not to eliminate the shadow, but to integrate it, to bring it into the light and use its energy for growth. This is where true transformation happens. But perhaps the most radical shift is in your relationship with discomfort. In a culture that prioritizes comfort above all else, learning to embrace discomfort is a revolutionary act. It means choosing growth over ease, effort over escape, and meaning over pleasure. It means recognizing that the path to a fulfilling life is not always easy, but it's always worth it. This is the rebellion, a conscious, intentional choice to live differently. It's a rejection of the status quo and a commitment to something deeper, something more meaningful. It's a recognition that you are not a passive consumer, but an active creator of your own life. But this is not the end of the journey, it's only the beginning. Because once you break free from the grip of entertainment, you'll begin to see the world, and yourself, in a whole new way. You'll discover a depth of experience, a richness of connection, and a sense of purpose that you never thought possible. And this brings us to the final, most powerful realization, the ultimate truth about entertainment, about life, and about yourself. Here it is, the truth that changes everything. Entertainment is not the enemy. You are not the victim. The power to transform your life has always been within you. This realization is both liberating and terrifying. Liberating because it means you're not trapped. You're not at the mercy of algorithms, societal pressures, or your own cravings. You have the power to choose what you consume, how you spend your time, and who you become. Terrifying, because it means you can no longer blame external forces for your dissatisfaction. The responsibility is yours, and yours alone. But this responsibility is also your greatest gift. It's the key to unlocking a life of depth, meaning, and authenticity. It's the foundation of true freedom. Let's break this down. Entertainment, in its essence, is neither good nor bad. It's a tool, a mirror that reflects our desires, fears, and aspirations. The problem arises when we use it as a crutch, a way to avoid the hard, uncomfortable work of living. When we do this, we give away our power. We become passive, disconnected, and weak. But when we use entertainment consciously, as a source of inspiration, connection, or even rest, it can enrich our lives. The difference lies in our intention. Are we consuming to escape, or are we engaging to grow? Are we numbing ourselves, or are we awakening to the fullness of our experience? This shift in perspective is the ultimate rebellion. It's a rejection of the narrative that tells us we're powerless, that we're mere consumers in a world designed to exploit us. It's a declaration that we are more than our cravings, more than our distractions, more than the sum of our habits. And here's the most profound part. This realization is not just about entertainment, it's about life itself. It's about recognizing that every moment is a choice to be present or absent, to create or consume, to grow or stagnate. It's about understanding that the quality of your life is determined not by external circumstances, but by how you respond to them. This is the wisdom of the philosophers, the psychologists, and the great thinkers who have grappled with the human condition. Carl Jung taught us to confront our shadow. Nietzsche urged us to embrace suffering as a path to strength. Viktor Frankl showed us that meaning can be found even in the darkest moments. And now, their insights converge in this one truth. You are the author of your own story. But writing this story requires courage. It means facing the void, embracing discomfort, and taking responsibility for your choices. It means letting go of the illusions that have kept you small and stepping into the uncertainty of your potential. And yet, this is where the magic happens. This is where you discover that the void is not empty. It's full of possibility. That discomfort is not something to avoid. It's a sign that you're growing. That responsibility is not a burden. It's the foundation of your freedom. So, what does this look like in practice? It looks like choosing presence over distraction, even when it's hard. It looks like creating space for silence, even when it's uncomfortable. It looks like pursuing meaning over pleasure, even when it's inconvenient. It looks like living intentionally, not as a passive consumer, but as an active participant in the unfolding of your life. And here's the final, most powerful truth. You already have everything you need to do this. The tools, the insights, the strength, they're all within you. The only thing standing in your way is the belief that you're not enough, that you need something external to fill the void. But the void is not something to be filled, it's something to be embraced. It's the space where creativity is born, where meaning is discovered, where life truly begins. So, the next time you feel the pull of entertainment, the urge to scroll, to binge, to escape, pause. Take a breath, ask yourself, what am I really seeking? And then, choose. Choose presence over distraction. Choose creation over consumption. Choose life over numbness. Because the truth is, you don't need entertainment to make you happy. You don't need distractions to make you whole. You are already enough. You are already whole. And when you realize this, when you truly internalize it, everything changes. The screens lose their power. The distractions lose their appeal. And you step into the fullness of your being, ready to live a life of depth, meaning, and purpose. This is the ultimate truth. This is the final, most powerful realization. And it's yours to claim.